Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm going to be showing you what Rammus jungle can do after the buffs. They slightly nerfed his Q and they nerfed his E a little bit, but they buffed his W and his R, so his engages are a lot more consistent. And yeah, his 5v5 team fightings are overall better. Plus his W lasts a longer time. It lasts up to 4 seconds longer if you're autoing stuff, so it basically lasts like 10 seconds. It's really, really good. It was a nice little buff they gave for him. That's actually going to make his clear speed a lot better. Because the W is the main way he reduces damage taken. We're going to walk away from the little one a little bit. I guess it doesn't matter. We're just not taking damage. There's so much sustain in the jungle these days. We used our E a little bit too early there, so we're going to miss out on the attack speed. While you're in your defensive curl, it maintains your E attack speed throughout. Luckily, the camp was almost done, so it didn't really matter. Just remember that. Whenever you are using your W against the camps, or your E for that matter, make sure your W's up within at least a second. That way you get to maintain that attack speed. His clears are definitely better, a lot healthier. But you will notice that his E his E duration against champions is noticeably worse. They chopped off a quarter second of the taunt from 2.25 seconds to 2 seconds flat. Surprised they didn't just take away Fiddlesticks' 2.25 seconds. Originally, Rammus and Fiddlesticks both had 3 seconds. Fiddlesticks had a 3-second fear, Rammus had a 3-second taunt. And they chopped that down to 2.25 like around season 7, I believe. Season 6. And now they just chopped Rammus's down to a flat 2 seconds. Used my E too early again. We'll go ahead and push out for a gank. Rammus doesn't really need to full clear. His full clear is basically as slow as Zax's. Rammus is mainly about just hitting level 3 and then ganking. That's where he truly power spikes. It's just having the mobility. Auto attack into the E. He's dead. Rammus has really high base auto attack damage because of his passive and his W. It's really awesome. Gonna help him shove this. And now we're gonna go for Scuttle Crab. You still want to max Q first. The damage on it and the cooldown gets lower, which is really nice. And the slow goes up on it, which is huge for staying on top of them. That little circle you see around you whenever you're moving on him is similar to a Warwick R. Rammus R goes farther and longer whenever he's moving faster, so just keep an eye on that. I see Vladimir. I'm gonna smite it, get on top of him. Nice, well played. This game's wrapping up nicely. This is a really good open for Rammus. If you can get just 1 successful gank off on Rammus, it's pretty much GG. It's 2. It's hard to come back from that. Usually on Rammus, you want to avoid picking him against AP junglers like 𝐒𝐿 and 𝐒𝐿𝐾𝐋. That's very challenging. Now against Evelynn, it's a little different. Evelynn can't pressure him very hard early. She doesn't have a way of staying on top of him. But 𝐒𝐿𝐾 and 𝐒𝐿𝐾 are pretty rough, so I would typically avoid those. I'll go top lane here in a second. Teemo doesn't have flash and he's pushing a fat wave. I need my Q though. Alright, here we go. I'm going to step up. Use my Q. I don't want him to get in a bush. Auto attack into the E. And he's dead. Well played. You can't be pushing up like that against a power gank jungler like Rammus. Rammus isn't an ultra power farmer. Typically, he does a 3 camp clear into gank, or he'll do 5 camp clear gank. Very rarely does a Rammus ever do a 6 camp clear. If Rammus ever does a 6 camp clear, he's only doing it because he doesn't see any viable ganks on the map. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what jungle champion you're playing in a solo queue, there's no reason to gank if you don't think it's going to be a kill. The only time you'll do that is if you're playing in ultra high elo just to blow a flash, which is even then still situational because it can cost you other resources around the map. Or pro play, obviously, that's completely different. Pro play, they have to force out flashes a lot of the times preemptively. There's just not as many resources on the map. Ganks aren't as successful in pro play. Solo queue, there's not a lot of communication and people don't often ward, or at least not as much as they should. And even if they do have it warded, they don't always react. Don't realize you're coming. Rammus is definitely better though. Having the extra attack speed on his E, which is 20% attack speed, level 1, is just so good. Just remember, don't use your E until your W's up. That way you can maximize the attack speed. When people attack you, they watch their health bars disappear. They don't realize how much damage you do. Best way to fight Rammus is to kite him out. When he is in his W, he's moving ultra slow. That's the whole point of his taunt, is to hold them still while you're in your W form to bash them. You should still be moving in between autos. You can pinch off an extra auto or two. This attack speed's so good, man. Rammus is actually going to be, I'd say, top 10 jungler now, even in mid-higher elo. Before he's been a top 10 jungler in lower elo, but now it's like, his clears feel really, really healthy. Even if they did slightly nerf his Q and his E, his W and R buffs make up for it. I think Morgana is probably the strongest, so if you're wondering, played Morgana jungle, her clears, scalability, 1v1, scuttle fights, like everything about Morgana jungle is super hype right now. Rengar invaded me. Taunting him. I don't know if I really want to R him. He's probably going to get away. I'm going to save my taunt. I'm going to go for his wraps. This Rengar's screwed. Somebody rage quit, they said. Might have been Vladimir. It's really early to rage quit. The scores are tied technically 3-3. I'll gank top again. Typically on power gank junglers or fast tempo gank junglers like Rammus and 𝐒𝐿, you want to gank the same laner over and over because you know their flash is most likely going to be down since you've been blowing their flashes. And it's just very fast. You just go and get out. There's no point of ulting the Rengar there because it would have just been a slow and his ultimate is so fast. My taunt was on cooldown, my Q was on a cooldown. Your ultimate's only really good to use when you're on your Q. That way the center of it is a knockup. Otherwise it's literally just a slow they can walk out of, which is kind of garbage. It doesn't stay with you like Rammus's old R, how it used to follow you. Kind of similar to the old 𝐒𝐿𝐾𝐈. If you remember the original 𝐒𝐿𝐾𝐈 ult, it used to I believe it used to follow him around, and every one of his teammates and himself inside of it took reduced damage. Then they changed it to being stationary, like Rammus's new R is. But if you haven't been playing League for a really long time, you're not going to remember that. This one champ you would want to see viable in regular play more. I think like Nico and Zyra jungle in regular play. In terms of pro play, it'd be awesome to see like a Garen jungle. Be pretty kick-ass. You always want to max taunt second, W last. W per level does like nothing, especially early game. It's super useless. Taunt per level, it's most important for the attack speed and I guess the slightly increased taunt duration. Here we go. Drop a big R on him. And we missed it because he flashed. And then we're just going to run him down. That's the thing about his R is you miss out on a lot of your Q movement speed. So even though his new R is like really good, there's also a lot of counterplay since they can just flash it. Because it uses up your full Q duration. So if you're going to use his R, you'd actually want to use it towards the end of your Q. So if I was like right here, I'd Q to get there and then Q and R right as my Q was about to end. Otherwise, it's just pointless. Looks like their whole team's playing. I don't know what they're talking about. Looks like Vlad's here. I'm gonna flash into him. Taunt, blue smite, he's dead. Rammus has really good armor values off of what he builds in his W, so he can tank turrets pretty well in the early game, even pre-full item. You see he's on it with our sweeper. Got him. I know Teemo's like right here, so I need to be a little bit careful. I think Vlad might be coming for the pinch, so I'm just gonna leave. I got the big goal, and that's good enough for me. It's not worth dying and being greedy. If I just got a kill, that's good enough. It looks like Teemo might have actually backed, but still, I'm not gonna greed out and blow a 500 shutdown for nothing. First time on stream, welcome to the stream, F Nino. Rammus OP right now? I wouldn't say OP, but I would say his team fights are going to be a little bit more consistent. Before the R change, if the enemy team had a lot of CC, like an Alistar and a Ornn, it could be hard for Rammus to actually get in there onto who he wants to get on. But with his new R, if who he wants to get on doesn't have a dash or a flash, they're kind of screwed. So I'd say the new Rammus is really good against immobile AD carries, like a Aphelios or Ashe, that type of thing, or even Sivir. Like you could drop an R on Sivir and blue smite off her spell shield right before you land. That would work too. We'll look for an R play. Some people are going AP Predator Rammus. Its win rate's not as good as this. I'm trying to show you guys the highest win rate, most consistent way of playing him at the moment. I'll be doing a for fun Predator Rammus though. Alright, here we go. 𝐒𝐿 Knock him up. We got him in the taunt and he's dead. If you're wondering what this is like, it's a lot like playing Warwick now with his R, being a skill shot that has some CC. It's very similar to being a tank Warwick that has better clears than a Warwick does. Teemo's topside somewhere. He's invisible right now. Rengar's dead. Saving my E for my W's backup. E's on a shorter cooldown. Because E goes on cooldown right when you use it. W doesn't. So like even though you're on your W for 10 seconds or whatever, the cooldown starts when it technically ends, not from when you start it, unlike the E. Even though the E attack speed's giving you attack speed the full 10 seconds. Plus it's whatever its duration is based on level even after. Because it basically resets its full duration whenever you're in your W or your Q. Our R's on a cooldown. We don't really have to look for anything here. If you did want to look for something, you would go for a Herald right now since we have lane prio top. Once our chem tank's up or closer to up, then we can look for a play mid. Or just go top. That works too. We can take first turret anyways. I'll just queue chem tank. He's missing. I don't know where he went. He's just hiding. Yeah, it's whatever. I'll go back mid. Should just go for Herald. I'm just going to run into him with my Q. I don't want to miss risking my R. That's the thing. You don't always want to use your R, guys. If it's like a Vladimir blood pool, if I R at him, I'm going to put my Q on full cooldown immediately. And he could just blood pool and dodge it, so... Rammus's new R, even though it's better in some situations, you don't always want to use it. As tempting as it might be. Just running them to your Q most of the time is good enough. And you're not going to miss your Q since you have more wiggle room with it. Can Rammus counter 𝐒𝐿? Kind of. Once 𝐒𝐿 has his items, Rammus can't really solo him. Yeah, I can't really kill him there. I would have actually killed him if with my old R, but I'm not going to be able to kill him with this one. At least not with tank Rammus. I didn't have the damage with my new R to kill him. Because it's gonna cancel an auto attack. You can't auto while you're mid-air on your R, and most of your damage from Rammus is coming from your R, so it would have been close whether I killed him or not, but I didn't want to guarantee my death by prolonging myself under turret. His old car, his old ultimate wasn't as flashy looking, but I'd say in the majority of situations it was much safer to use. Like his old R, there's really no way to mess it up, and even if they flashed, you could still get value out of it by running them down. This new R, if they dodge it, they dodge it, you know? You can kind of think of it like a Lux snare. This is what his new R is. A knock-up Lux snare. So when they dodge it, they dodge it. That's it. Can take into him. All-Star's panicking over there. He wouldn't have been able to kill me though. I have so much armor. I have triple armor items. Even if you knocked me up, I could have taken like 8 more turret shots. Plus flash. Looking for a kill. I'm in their jungle. I don't need to use Q. I'm already here. Looks like they're top lane right now. I'm not over there at the moment though. I don't think 𝐒𝐿 can solo Jhin. Jin's full item. 𝐿 is not. We'll run top lane here in a second. His base R range is really low, and like I said, if you're not on your Q, it's kind of useless because it doesn't knock them up or anything. So you just kind of R on them, you flop there like a dead fish, and then that's it. There's some slow that's applied to them, a very small slow, and some area effect damage, kind of like a MF circle when MF drops her circle. So there, that actually kind of helped getting to him since minions are in the way. So if there's champs in your way or minions in the way, your R is good. You can also use your R to go over walls or turrets or any kind of structure your R can go over, any kind of obstacle. So normally monsters in any kind of enemy unit like a monster, minion, or Heimerdinger turret will block your Q, but not when you're on your R with Rammus. Let me chem tank this guy down. Blue smite. Oh, that sucks. So I'll just flash. That really sucked. I almost had him. I should have flashed for the Vlad. I didn't commit to it. Well, he actually went for Katarina? This guy's dead. What a goober. I wouldn't have recommended that. I thought he was going to go for me because I was like 500 health. I had a lot of armor though, but he just decided he's going to go for Kata. The new Rammus overall, his clears are a little bit better, I'd say. His 1v1s aren't quite as good with his new R, but his flashy playmaking ability, or if things are in his way, then his R is better, so I'd say he is overall stronger, just not the way I would typically play him. Me personally, when I play Rammus, I build things like Titanic Hydra and 𝐒𝐿, and I'm super grimy in 1v1, super hard to beat, and I'd use my old R, so it'll take me a little bit to get used to this new one. Auto attack, the E, the W on. I mean, if you can hold them still, it's still a little bit like your old R, just not as heavy of a slower damage. Just remember, if possible, try to use your R at the end of your Q, or you start using your Qs early when you want to use your R, because your R immediately cancels your Q and puts it on full cooldown. All right, I gotta reset. Let's spend this gold. Alright, you got full Thorn Melt. This is Rammus' normal setup. If you're ahead, you can then optimize into items like 𝐒𝐿 or Titanic Hydra, or just keep stacking armor and HP. If you guys enjoyed this buffed Rammus jungle guide, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name is 𝐒𝐿𝐂𝐋. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.